Greetings, everyone. DFG here. Hey, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Um, Something was brought to my attention earlier today. I thought I would share it. And the reason I want to share it it's in relationship to personal accountability. Um, and this personal accountability has everything to do with, the sharing of who's accountable for what. Uh, Here's my question: why is it that when it comes down to the evils of this country, America, that people of color are only heard in regards to them accepting responsibility for the things that truly they're not accountable for or responsible for doing? And here's what I mean by that. Why is it that we as a people can't get past this silly minded? Let us all have a heart stuff. No peoples on this planet plead with the oppressor about having a holistic approach of we when it's them. The Europeans have shown themselves to be very merciless in their behaviors when it comes down to oppressing and, quite frankly, destroying the lives of people of color here in this country. And to that mindset is changed with our people. To that mindset, this you know, we versus, them. Because at the end of the day, if I'm doing the crime, then I should be the person called out for the crime that I'm committing. But if I'm not doing the crime, there's no reason for me to step up and say, well, if we all quit, committing crimes, then the world will be a better place. It's not me when it's you. It's not us when it's them. And I'll give you some examples of what I'm saying here. In the United States, there was a war, and there was uh, at the end of this war, the victors literally walked away and allowed those who um, lost the war, and this was a war of not only a war to overturn the government of the United States, but in this war of secession, this war was to tear down this country, to break it up, to break it into to many pieces, many states, Confederate states, what they call themselves. But yet this country allowed the country who rose up against it, or the part of the nation that rose up against it, not only to success after the war, but allowed it to keep all of its flags, keep all of its monuments, all of its memorial memorabilia, to acknowledge their valency and how valiant they were in fighting this war. So when I start to hear and this is to people of color, these men and women of color who go around with this why can't we all get along mentality, to me it's almost an act of, and this is going to sound a little harsh, cowardice. Because at the end of the day, why are you accepting responsibility for something that you did not do? It's not we who walk around calling, little white kids hunkies or crackers or peckerwoods. It's not we, who go around, putting, cross or burning crosses on white America's lawns. It's not we who go around blowing up white churches. It's not we who disproportionately incarcerate, white men and women. It's not we who allowed a police force at its own discretion to go out and shoot innocent, white, young men. It's not we that allow a banking system to redline in terms of how it distributes, loans. It's not we who allow gerrymandering and redistricting to allow, political officials to go into office who do not have our best interest in mind, but someone else's best interest in mind, without any regard to the needs of the poor and those who are suffering in these inner cities throughout this country. So when I hear someone of color going around saying, we, and why can't we all have a heart and why can't we all get along, I look at them as almost a trait, as treacherous, a traitor, because I don't understand why it's we when it's you. If I broke in your home and stole everything out of your house and sold it, and then took that money and went and bought drugs, I'm sure you wouldn't come and say we have a drug problem. I'm sure you wouldn't walk away and say, we can do better than this. I'm sure you wouldn't walk away and say, well, it's not, it's our fault that he did what he did. If we all just understood better, why he did what he did, then we would all be a better place. I'm sure you wouldn't say that. I'm sure your oppressor wouldn't say that. Yet somehow we have been persuaded, infiltrated, by those who are supposed to have our best interest in mind, that whenever it comes to our best interest, it's never our best interest, it's the broader society's best interest. And many times the broader society's best interest is at our expense. So I don't understand this we, or these individuals who want to get on these platforms and talk about, this love, 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 and how can we all just get along, and why don't we all just work together, and if we all just saw each other and saw past skin, and we didn't look at, racism and look at ethnicity, we wouldn't have any problems. The truth of it is we do look at race, and we do look at skin color, and we do look at ethnicity. That's a reality. And not dealing with that reality or pretending like that reality doesn't exist or taking a utopian mindset towards that doesn't change anything. In truth, it perpetuates it. It's why now you can go anywhere in this country and see monuments of white supremacists, white, racists, from George Washington all the way down to Thomas Jefferson, all the way down to Jefferson Davis, all the way down to Robert E. Lee. These monuments are all over this country that shows racial oppression and hostilities to we, the people. Why hasn't anyone dealt with that? And for Europeans who feel like, okay, I don't have any, that's not me, I don't feel that way, why haven't you addressed it then with those of your kind who do feel that way? And more importantly, why have you tolerated? Why didn't you just go down there and just, without anybody telling you to, say, I wish you would put up a Confederate flag in any state. I wish you would build up a monument to one of your Confederate generals in any state. I wish you would name a street or corner or block or a city after any one of your Confederate, rebellious leaders. But you didn't do it. Not that you not do it, in many cases, you glorified it. You can go down in New Orleans right now, and there's a big statue of, what's his name? Jackson. I'm sorry for the mind slip. But, it's Jackson Square. And it's a monument to Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was responsible for the deaths of more Native Americans than any American who ever walked this continent. And yet there's a big monument right there in the center of downtown New Orleans paying tribute to this man, as though he's a hero for slaughtering Native Americans. The Trail of Tears, running them off their land, running them out of Florida, running them out of Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, pushing them into these hostile territories in the Midwest, and then making sure that he put the army on them to destroy them, giving them smallpox and blankets and contaminated foods and meats to make sure that at the end of the day there was not one Native American standing if he had anything to do with it. Yet I don't see anyone talking about that. So I don't hear anybody saying we when it comes down to the atrocities of them. So why are you, so-called people of color, whenever it comes down to dealing with things that matter, things that are oppressive to you, things that have created your oppression, going around singing these little sweet songs about we? Until we wake up and start holding people accountable for the things that we do, then we're never going to have a so-called great America. Many people of color died for this country, fought to make this country or keep this country free. Many of them. Where are their monuments? I don't see their monuments, in America. Where are they? I don't see them. Yeah, you have the token one sitting there with Martin Luther King, sitting out there in D.C. somewhere. But where are all the other great leaders? Where are their statues? Where are their monuments? As though they didn't do anything. So when we start talking about, we need to understand what that really means. And from where I sit and from what I see and from what I understand, hatred and bigotry has nothing to do with we. It has everything to do with you. And those who you allow to sit next door to you or share or break bread with you, interact with you, that you say nothing to. That's what I see from me versus we. And this is intelligent conversation. This is what, if you really want to see change, then stop self-deceiving yourselves. Stop pretending like everything is what it is not. And I'm going to say this, and I'm fighting against saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Something in my mind want to say, what? Tell everybody this is not about hate, because it's not about hate. But see, that in itself is a compromise. Because why does it have to be about hate if I'm telling you the truth? What does hatred have to do with the truth? It has nothing to do with it. But yet even I feel guilty about speaking the truth, that somehow or another I have to apologize for telling you the truth. It's like Paul said to the church at Galatians, do you hate me because I say the truth? So if you hate me for speaking the truth, then will you love me if I tell you a lie? So, time out with this, if we all just changed our hearts and if we all just got on, no, no more of that. If you change your heart, if you change your attitude, the oppressors I'm talking to, and those who allow the oppression to go on, you take responsibility, personal accountability. You fight for what's right and making sure that equality is applied across the boards, that no one is running around here fighting for civil rights. Why would a person of color have to fight for civil rights when we have constitutional rights right there listed in our Constitution saying that all men supposedly, have those rights applied to? So no, you stand up and you do what's right. And then when you stand up and do what's right, then guess what? You'll find us over there waiting for you. Hand out. But until then, I'm going to keep my hands in my pockets. And if you're smart enough, make sure that you don't have empty pockets. I'll leave it like that. Thank you for listening. Enough of the child's play. Grown-ups need to talk like grown-ups. Adults need to talk like adults. This is adult talk. Whether we want to deal with it or not, it's still our reality. Thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.